Rejoice, daughters, for you have been chosen to fight, as he on Terra once fought for humanity, chosen to suffer, as all must sacrifice to fulfill his will. First, you must prove yourself worthy in blood.
A lot of the following information has been taken from the Kill Team Chalnath book, as well as the first episode of Pariah Nexus. Orphan children under the Imperium of Man who had parents that were under the service of the Emperor of Mankind end up in the Schola Progenium. These schoolchildren, called progena, receive a bespoke education unlike anything in the galaxy. Strict prayer and fasting, meditation and contemplation, faith and zealotry are all part of the curriculum, as well as history, politics, leadership, skill at arms, endurance and military drills. These drills are run by drill abbots, who are hardened military veterans ordained as ministorum priests. After training, and as they mature, the best female progenia are recruited into the Adepta Sororitas. From here, the fledgling sister goes through a few more ranks before becoming a fully fledged member of the Adepta Sororitas, and are classed as novitiates, being given a ring of sufferance to wear and to take the oaths of adherence. Firstly, they are classified as a novice. This is the lowest rank within the Adepta Sororitas. Here, they suffer the hardships of owning their faith. Next is the Cantus. These are the sisters who have proven their faith and now must master the fundamentals of every order. Typically, a fledgling sister will learn the skills involving counsel, killing, and healing. The final rank amongst the novitiate is the Constantia. Here, the sister will be trained in combat using the bolter, melter, and flamer. Once the sister is deemed worthy, she will then be selected to choose an order and will become a sister of battle proper. It is during the novitiate's training that they often find themselves in kill teams with a thirst to prove themselves. Steeped in traditions and sacred rites, the kill team will pray together before each mission. Novitiates, straight out of the Schola Progenium, fight together as a loyal sisterhood of insoluble faith. The youthful zealotry of such novitiates is focused and controlled by an experienced sister superior, usually called the novitiate superior, who directs them in battle and in prayer. Each member of the kill team can have a dedicated sub-role, so let's take a look. Novitiate Superior. The Novitiate Superior makes command decisions, steers the faith of her charges, and serves as an inspirational example of how a warrior of the Adepta Sororitas acts at all times. She would be above the station of a novice, usually that of a veteran sister. Novitiate Purgatus. Novitiate Purgatus had the holy duty of bringing cleansing flame to the enemies of mankind. When they unleash their Ministorum Flamers, they leave behind a little more than ash. Novitiate Reliquarius. Carrying inspirational icons or ornate tapestries or reliquaries, Novitiate Reliquarius unleashed the holy power of the God Emperor to inspire their sisters to fight even harder. Novitiate Pronatus. Novitiate Pronatus learn everything there is to know of relics. Alongside being highly skilled warriors, they are expected to retrieve and guard precious artifacts. Novitius Preceptor. Often chosen as their superior's second in command, Novitius Preceptor serve as exemplars, striding eagerly into the fray to smite the Emperor's foes. Novitiate Penitent. Urged to earn their redemption for a minor transgression, Novitiate Penitent wield brutal eviscerators and fight with unrestrained fury to earn back their honour. Novitiate Militant. Novitiate Militant are battle sisters in training, yet to earn their power armour and bolt guns. Nonetheless, they are zealous warriors of the Emperor. Novitiate Hospitaller. Curing the physical and spiritual ills of battlefield wounded is an onerous task, requiring countless hours of practice. Novitiates Hospitaller have taken their first steps on this long road. Novitiate Exactor. Some zealous novitiates are given neural whips with which to inflict physical and mental anguish on the foe, or to whip fellow sisters into a frenzy. Novitiate Duelist. Some novitiates have a natural affinity for blade work. They take to the field eagerly to prove their skill and claim the heads of the most capable enemies. Novitiate Dialogus. These sisters are trained in cryptography, making them great value to kill teams. They are able to unlock obscure ciphers and find hidden patterns in communiques. Novitiate Condemner. Sorcerers and witches are among the Adepta Sororitas' most hated foes. Novitiate Condemner are equipped with special wargear to cut down exactly this kind of threat. These excellent models and titles give you an abundance of choice for your Novitiate Militant to diversify and specify into a certain role, and still offer you a miniature you can use to represent this. Taking a quick glance at the stat line for the Novitiate Militant shows that they are a surprisingly good all-rounder at tier 1, and their archetype ability Impetuous Fervour is actually really useful when making charging attacks, reducing the multi-attack penalty by 2. Pair this with a decent melee weapon and you could be doing decent damage. Novitiates who have not been accepted as full sisters are not actually permitted to use bolt weapons until they have proved themselves worthy in the eyes of the God Emperor, or, more accurately, in the eyes of their stern superiors. Some are gifted with thrice-blessed autoguns or sanctified auto pistols. These automatic weapons undergo cleansing rites that can last days or even weeks to ensure they are sufficiently purified for their purposes. To represent this, the Novitiate has its own weapon entry brand new to Redacted Records 2, in the form of the Novitiate melee weapon seen here. They also have the new entry of Novitiate armour that has an AR of 3. Some sisters may be honoured with holy amulets or ancient relics of saintly heroines which to carry to war, perhaps mortal remains of legendary warriors and exquisite tapestries retelling their inspirational deeds. Sisters who are not members of the Order's Militant, or who train to become so, bear the tools or relics of their specific calling. All members of the Adeptus Sororitas, however, also carry a Chaplet Ecclesiasticus. This string of adamantine beads is hung with icons of the sisterhood and ecclesiarchy. Each bead represents an act of humble penitence, and in the case of senior sisters, each bead can represent tens of hundreds of such acts. It is a personal icon worn at all times, and a powerful reminder of the selfless duty each sister aspires to. While the chaplet and the beads are not specifically given to the archetype in the equipment section, both of these items are useful to add under the character creation section when adding a trinket or charm, found on page 247 of the core rulebook, instead of or as well as rolling on the tables. As for talents, as well as the usual offering you get from the core rulebook and Redacted Records 1 and 2, don't forget you also have access to faith talents. The ones suggested are from Redacted Records 2 and offer some interesting ways to be a beacon of faith and zeal. As you've seen in the lore section, there are a selection of dedicated novitiate models recently added by Games Workshop in the form of a kill team, which can be seen here. You may also wish to use a standard sister model for your Novitiate Militant seen here, some of which can carry specialist weapons as well, granting you visual options for your loadouts. There are also some models from the Sister of Battle Just My Arche-Type video that would also suit your needs. However, it's important to note that Sisters Novitiate are not quite Sisters of Battle just yet. You could also use a Sister Repentia, however these also have their own entry as an archetype, so may be best reserved for them. Irregardless, it's your character, so represent them however you see fit. In a hive world, if you're rocking the archetype but not using it as a sister necessarily, or more controversially, use it as an ex-progenitor on the run, you might want to look at the Escher gang models, or even look at their wild runners for some cool dynamic poses or some unique styles. Your status is very, very low. You'll take orders from some, if not most, acknowledged priests, especially from Sisters of Battle. A Sister Novitiate Militant is from one of the lowest ranks of the Sisters Order, and while some might think, what's the point, and why not go for an established Sister of Battle, I think that this is an excellent archetype idea because it leaves you open for so much inner conflict. Imagine you were orphaned, forced into a very strict school and in some cases can be mind-breaking and abusive, taught to worship the Emperor of Mankind. You could have a lot of inner team dialogues about your doubts or about your past. Or even be overzealous because you have determination to prove yourself to those who accepted you and trained you. Because you're not a fully fledged sister, you might have a loose tongue and more of an attitude, and I think this plays very well for some really dynamic conversations. Similarly to what I touched upon earlier, if you're playing a hive world and want to run as an ex-progenitor for some interesting and controversial takes, then this would be super fun as well. With insights and fervour to the ways of the Sisters of Battle, but without the devotion that would come with it. It could make for an excellent story beat if you're being hunted by the Scholar Progenium as a heretic or a deserter.